and and then someone found out and spread the word, and so they cancelled it.
Why did you tell them before?
No, I just talked about it to friends and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Because no one believed me. No one believed me. Which, you know, and then I'd put the pressure on myself, and I was like, "Fuck you guys! You guys don't believe me. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it." And then I remember I was in the like gym toilets kind of thing, and I stripped off all my clothes, and I was jumping up and down, like hyping myself up, and I opened the door, and one of the teachers was standing right there, and I was like, "Fuck!" Closed the door. I shook my head, opened the door again, and I had to like shimmy around her, and then I ran across the court with my arms up, done a lap around the whole school.
Were you like screaming? Like
nah.
Like well, you just went.
Yeah, no, I don't think I was screaming. I think I was just doing a lap.
Was it like Blink 182 era that they were running around on the video clips naked? Because I think that's inspired a lot of kids to run naked. They remember that What's My Age Again video clip?
I remember. I don't remember the video clips. I wasn't really an MTV kid. I don't watch that kind of stuff. I watched the stuff that was on in between the ads back then.
It was just your own inspiration.
Yeah, I don't know. I was sick of it. And then I remember I went out to my mate's house in Matarangi and got hammered. And I was there with my girlfriend at the time, and him and his girlfriend, and John Wright, who's a great, lovely guy.
He was already John Wright, the principal, really? So we need to bring him back and remember this story. He will remember.
I've seen him often recently. I'm sure he remembers. And he drove out to Matarangi, pulled me out. I was not in a good frame of mind, and made my mate's dad stand there and be a witness while he like talked about how it was inappropriate and I was expelled and all this kind of stuff. So and I started laughing.
So that was that was an assembly. So you were running naked around the assembly,
or
it was
they
just
cancelled
like
the assembly. So I just done a lap around the school. And
it's a big school, bro.
Yeah, I know. I was fit. I was fit back then. I was fit as. And I remember I finished I went to, just past your music room, down to the art room. You just traumatized me, by the way. Thanks. And Janet Hoogworth, who's my mate's mother. I love how you're dropping names. So good. So good. If we're doing name drops, the teacher that I'd done the skirting around as well, when I ran off, was Pierre de Begley. We're putting them out there. And then Janet was like, "Get the camera, we need evidence." Did she say get the camera? Yeah. Well, Janet had evidence. And then I don't know if you'd know this one. This is probably an older name, but Des Bristow was there as well. And man, he can run. He's got like calves, like little rocks, eh? And he was just like pacing after me. What would he do? Like tackle you? That's what I was thinking. Like, he'll freak out anyway once he got here. But so last little bit, I ran into the back of the gymnasium and I like slammed the doors open, and there was kids doing that. And I'd done not quite the helicopter. I tried to, but I like jumped up and down, and then ran off and jumped a fence and disappeared. And, and then went and got drunk. And that was how I left school. There you go, kids. Altbays Table Talk. We're live. Amazing. How to leave school? Yeah, I mean, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll ruin my legacy. Wow, man. But like, what about before? Like, were you? Because there's like, okay, it's easy to give shit to a system, to an education system that you see that there are flaws, or you see that like it's not supporting kids who have different ways of learning and seeing life. So like I get it. But then there's also the great side of things of being a space where you can try things if you're lucky to have cool teachers that actually incentivize that. They're like, did you have any of that? Like any cool teachers or things that you were into, but like you didn't have the opportunity to tap much into them? Yeah, so I've seen they have a lot of this, more of this kind of stuff now, but with not at the time, like the computer animation lab and stuff like that. So I was plane building. Yeah, sure. I have no idea what they're doing really, but when I was there, I remember I was into drawing, but like kind of character models. So I learned to draw from tracing Dragon Ball Z and old Spider-Man comics and stuff like that. And I always liked like character concept art. And I have one of my favorite artists is this fella,
Carlos Swante, who done the designs for Men in Black 1, the recent It movies, Godzilla, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like all these famous stuff. I think he works for LucasArts at the moment. But I would always just get told, stop doodling, it's trash. What you need to do is draw this still life pot of flowers and maybe some cubism or something. And I'm like, when am I, like I get learning different
techniques, style.
Exactly. But yeah, what I wanted to do definitely wasn't fostered and was actually ridiculed more so. So, and that happened with a lot of things, like music as well. I didn't do music class because there wasn't a rap kind of, there was no, you can turn up and be like, so I'm a rapper. There was not even a section for poetry, you know what I mean? It was just like, we do guitar and singing and blah, 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 which is, I don't know if it's still the same. But yeah, I think overall I just got bored of everything. I was pretty intelligent. Even when I left, I was still acing my English and maths tests and stuff like that. So I don't know, I just didn't care.
Yeah.
I was just bored.
Did you care?
School, I cared about my cooking teacher at school. I love the cooking
Was she hot?
classes. Hey.
Yes, he was.
He wasn't bad though.
No, he wasn't. Well, no, but he was a bloody good chef.
Yeah.
So that's what I was interested in at school. So I was like, wow, that was cool. The rest of it, not as interested as I could have been.
Yeah.
So yeah, can understand you there.
Yeah, I think I was just I was real quiet as well. So I remember, which sounds silly now, but I remember sitting in the class and watching like the top achieving kids, and they'd stand up and they'd do their speeches in front of everyone and that, and I'd be like sitting at the back of the class, not volunteering any information, not putting my hand up, just being like a stowaway in the class, but at the same time in my head being like, they pronounced that word wrong. They used that in the wrong context. Things like that, like pointing out spelling errors that the teacher made on the whiteboard. Yeah. But not actually participating. So maybe just a bit of a troublemaker.
There's a way of seeing how we support like the high achievers, right? Because if you it depends from which perspective you look at it. Like from the high achievement perspective, great, good on you. But like, what about the one who didn't get it? Does it mean that like he's not good at all? Like what goes through the mind of that kid? You hope that he's understanding that it was just for that specific thing, but maybe for a lot of kids it means, what am I good at?
Digging holes. No.
Yeah, man.
We still need those people. Or you could be a teacher.
I know, right? Fuck, especially if you're banging on things. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
You know what? My favorite one is the economics teacher who are teaching people how to, do all of like how the economy works.
Yeah.
And yet they're a teacher. They're not like a stockbroker or something like that. I'm like, you can't be that good at it.
It's the old saying, if you can't do, teach it.
Yeah, a lot, especially depending on the region where you are, and you're going to look for jobs that can be sustainable for you, right?
Yeah.
And schools are, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have a job.
We need schools. That's for real.
Schools, man. But hey, the quiet kids might start running naked around the school. You gotta be mindful.
Yeah, it's unfortunate though. I kind of see it. Sometimes when I look back, I see it as like a filter system, more to do with temperament than actual intelligence. So. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are, if you're not going to follow the rules, you're not going to pass. So you kind of have to toe the line and do what's set out, even if you don't understand why you're doing it. You just have to do what you're told. And then you're going to get the marks, and then you can possibly get a better career, depending on what you're planning to do. But I definitely didn't fit the
Yeah.
rule following thing. I remember I had a mate who had this theory called the footpath theory, and so those kids that had that temperament who would kind of they would sit at the top while the other people filtered down. They're the kind of people that would follow the footpath all around. And the other kids, when you get down to the bottom, they're the kids who cut the corners and walk over the grass through the mud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Get there faster.
Different ways of getting there.
Indeed.
Different ways of getting there, man.
yeah, one way you come out with muddy feet. So
What I,
10
what,
minutes faster than walking around the block on the footpath.
what I like about what about you, about Azzie, and a lot of the men in the community and the men that come to the show, not all of them, but most of them, and the ones that I like to have a chat because I choose to, you know, like because this is a professional thing, so I'm chatting with people to understand their minds. But some people I love to chat, having a coffee or just coming for a yarn, is the ability that some of us have to talk about how we feel, because it's hard for men, you know, like it shouldn't be. It should just be a normal thing to open up. But
I think it's becoming much more open. Like it's even last night when I was at the Monkey House, some random guy came up to me, this fellow Jaden, who I'd never met before. And we talked through it for a little bit, and I said something kind of off the cuff about my life at the moment. And he was like, "Are you all good, bro?" We never even talked. Like, I didn't even know the guy. He's like, "But seriously, are you all good?" Like, so it's
nice.
definitely, you know, becoming more common.
And you, when I asked you to just give me a little bit of information about you, it was cool because you wrote a lot of stuff. Not a lot, but you like important key points of your life. And then right at the end, the last text, you were like, "Oh, by the way, I deal with some anxiety.
Yeah.
I deal with some other stuff, and I don't medicate."
Yeah.
On that. And I was wondering,
Which the doctors don't recommend, by the way.
yeah. Take me through that, man.
They
What?
can't get you on prescriptions and get money out.
Well, I don't know anything about the kickbacks or anything like that. I literally haven't looked into any of that kind of stuff. I just know that, oh God. So do I start from the start? Or start
Yeah.
from the whole thing?
School, maybe. We're talking about school. So was it something that you were already aware of?
I mean, I suppose that's where it started, maybe when younger, I don't know. But it was after my daughter's first birthday.
How old is she?
She turns 7 next year, so she's 6 now. Turns 7 in March. But we got hammered because it was first birthday. You know, what are they doing?
Did she as well? Nah, bad joke. Sorry, Eliza.
And then woke up in the morning. I fucking cooked eggs Benedict, made the hollandaise, did everything. I made this mean as breakfast. My mate was there, and then he went home. Elisa took Charlie up to her parents' house, and I was just chilling at home. And I started playing some PlayStation, just relaxing. I was like, "This is the best." And then suddenly I couldn't breathe. I just couldn't catch my breath, and I remember just being like not being able to get a full breath in, and no triggering thing, which is what the doctors were always like. "Oh, what triggered it? What triggered it?" I'm like, I don't know.
It's just your mic, bro.
Oh, my bad. And then and then I walked out on the deck, and I was still trying to catch my breath, and I couldn't get it. And then my vision started to go black from the edges, and I went to the next door neighbor and told her, and she gave me a ride up to my missus' parents' house at the time, and then ended up calling the ambulance, and then they were taking too long, so we started driving to meet them. I thought I was having a heart attack. My vision was going black, my lips were going blue, my fingertips were going blue, like full physical. I was losing movement in my fingers, and I was trying to call the ambulance from the phone. I couldn't press the buttons properly, and then the ambulance picked me up, and I kind of passed out in the ambulance. Got to the doctors, I can't remember what it was now, probably Takapuna or something like that. And the doctor, this American dude, pretty much laughed at me. I think he thought I was just trying to get drugs or something like that. And he's like, "You just had a panic attack. Like, what are you doing?"
What?
Yeah, I thought I was dying.
God damn, is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah,
fuck's sake.
and then and I didn't have another one for a while. I was like, that was fucking something else. And then I was working in civil construction. I was working on the rail link in Albert Street, and I remember looking at just doing whatever and looking up at the sun, and you got the city on either side. and then like my vision just all went hazy, and the whole background went like reddish, and like started like, and then I started getting vertigo, and luckily there was a doctor's right there. Went to the doctor's there, so that was my second one. That was maybe a year later or something like that. And then I'd have like little ones intermittently, and then I think God, was it last year? It was really recent anyway. I started getting it real bad. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd have like it looked like scribbles like scratched across my vision while my eyes were closed, and I'd wake up and my heart would just be racing in my chest out of nowhere. I don't know what it was, and then I started getting vertigo all the time, and then my vision started to get, the way I described it to the doctors is my vision's gone weird. I don't know what it was. It was like, so this vertigo, like loss of balance feeling.
Wow.
And then like crazy after images. So light would stay there for ages, you know, when you stare at a light, but it would happen all the time. And one of the weirder ones I remember was, because I read often, and I was reading books, and the line underneath the line that I was reading would be highlighted in blue. And then when I went down, the blue line would move down. And so I don't know what that was about. And there'd be like just speckles across my vision and stuff like that.
Stuff that never happened before. Stuff that you never dealt with.
Yeah. And I went to the doctors and I was like, just give me some fucking Valium or something. I don't know. I just want to sleep. And they wouldn't do it. And they gave me, I don't know, I can't even remember what it's called, citalopram or something like that. I took that for a while. I think it didn't do anything except for make me really tired. It might help some people. I don't want to, you know, it just wasn't for me. So I just stopped taking it and I started going to the gym instead. But yeah, it was wild. And so the vision thing, I got diagnosed with something called visual snow.
Visual snow.
Yeah, and panic disorder. So but now, like, I haven't had a panic attack in ages now. But to get to that point, with the visual snow, before I got diagnosed, I went to see an optometrist, and they were like, the guy's like, what do you say? If everyone had vision as good as yours, then we wouldn't need optometrists. He's like, so it's probably something to do with your brain. I was like, fuck. Wow. And then I started having even worse panic attacks, like every night. So I was like, I got a brain tumor, I'm gonna die.
It's amazing how you're thinking.
And it just wouldn't.
This is what's going on.
It wouldn't go away. It was hectic. And then I went to somewhere in Auckland. I got a brain scan. Sat in the CT machine, which is a weird thing in itself. And then that came back fine. So they're like, it's just a neurological disorder where your brain is meant to cancel out. It's not cancelling out, so it's taking this extra information and then it's not tuning out what it needs to.
Could it be emotionally triggered, like triggered by emotions or something? Did anyone mention that? It's a more like holistic thing? No, not really. No,
I don't know. I went and talked to like a couple of psychologists and stuff like that, but I didn't do it. Maybe I didn't do it long enough. I don't know. I was just like, this is boring. Like all the stuff because I've read a lot of like basic psychology journals and stuff like that, and so for me, I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And
so you don't do anything for it. Like you don't take medication. You don't see a professional.
I think when I drink too much, which is way too often, it makes it worse. and
goddamn, hide those cans, man. Fuck, pals. What are you doing? God damn. Pau in Portuguese means cock.
Really?
It's a good joke. It's a good joke for Taylor and I. Like when people say, "Oh, let's have some paus," I'm like, "Fuck, have many."
When I asked for you to get some,
I loved it. What do you drink, Henry? Oh, just get me some paus. I'm like, well, I can get you one right now. Joking.
You wait till later.
Don't get too excited.
I know, right? Shit, bad joke.
Afterwards.
But anyway. So when you drink way too many, what happens? Sorry, it was just.
Oh, you just joke. No. I don't know. Do you guys get like? I think the term is hangxiety.
Oh yeah.
Like so, you wake up like I don't know. It's just like the same thing I get because I don't drink coffee. And I barely drink energy drinks and stuff like that. And I get
caffeine
what I call it. I call it itchy blood. Yeah. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like it, and it's the same thing. If I drink too much, I get that same feeling.
I might get
the racing heart.
Kind of agitated,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
on edge, and you're like going, what's going on? Your body's just freaking out.
Yeah, I just don't like it. So that happens if I drink too much. So, but if I go to the gym, it's almost the opposite. So I try and go to the gym, and it's
And
like
you go in the evenings, which is interesting because it calms you down. For a lot of people, they can't sleep after having a session.
Well, I don't really sleep that much anyway, so.
Could be that. Could be
Yeah,
that.
I usually stay up till, I don't know, sometimes I won't leave the gym until 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that.
When do you sleep? Do you like when you crash? Is that you? Do you just boom, black out? Or you have some interrupted, crazy dreams and moments in?
Occasionally I get some crazy dreams. It's like they pop in once in a while. Some really crazy ones, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Do you sleep that you walk? For the people listening to us.
Yeah.
Oh, you
I
said
have
it.
some good stories.
Yeah, you got some. So for the people,
yeah.
for the people listening to our show, Azzie McLean came to the Altbays before. We had a good show, and
Cool.
you were on a wheelchair. So just for the people who are listening, can see Azzie, great man, one of the most lovely men, and the Coromandel and the world. Just putting into context. Do you?
I've had a few. Like I've had a few dreams where I've thought about it, but because I've kind of grown up this way, it's kind of most of my dreams happen to be like I'm either in the chair or there's been a few when I haven't felt that I've needed it or I've been out of it doing things, but usually the dreams, I don't dream as much as I used to actually, but sometimes it's kind of like this weird alternate world where I'll either be floating or I'll be trying to, like, something will pop in and I'm trying to walk or something and then it will switch to something else.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this blurred. It can be quite interesting. Actually.
Are you aware of being in a dream, you guys?
Sometimes I really am. Sometimes, like, I had a dream the other night where I was at a friend's place and his mum was there and then we were talking. But then his mum died a few years back. But we were talking in this dream and I thought it was real. And then we suddenly were walking down the road. Well, I was pushing, I can't remember. And then I was thinking, hang on a sec, I was talking to your mum, but she's dead. Oh, I must be dreaming and thinking in my dream that I was dreaming.
That's that realization,
So I came into this part of my dream where I knew I was dreaming because his mum was not here anymore. But then I was still remembering having a conversation with her and then going and then the dream went off somewhere else. But it's one of them, it was hilarious. But it was like, wow, I remember I'm dreaming in a dream. Whoa, that's cool. But it was pretty trippy actually.
I like this stuff. Do you have lucid dreams, right?
You've done it as well, I can tell.
What?
Lucid dreaming.
They scare me a little bit.
Yeah, they
I
fucking
have,
do.
what happens
yeah.
often to me, it's
Sleep paralysis.
Is that time when you're almost sleeping and then I kick, or that happens very often to me. But when I'm
reckon
gone,
that's the stage
I
before
crash, bro.
sleep paralysis. That when you're so I used to do meditation a lot when I was younger. I don't these days because when I do, it's too hard because I've got too many things to do.
And then they keep it plays
I'm like,
interesting. Yeah.
I want to relax and do the meditation, but I actually
And you think
need to
about
get
the
up and
order,
do.
and you think about the pizza.
My to-do
and you
list
think
is
about the
unfolding
kids.
in my head. It's like, yeah. But I remember, and I'm not like, if I was to say anything about spirituality, I'd say I'm completely agnostic. Like, I don't fucking know. But I've had some interesting experiences. And when I used to meditate, I remember I got to this point where, I made up my own way of doing it, right? Where I would find like a comfortable spot and I'd just relax. It could be as simple as lying on the grass or whatever. And I would first I'd try and forget the boundary of myself to whatever I was in contact with. And so I'd just concentrate on losing that boundary. And then after a while, it'd feel like the sense impressions of the grass, for instance, or whatever you're lying on, disappear. And it feels like there's no gap between you and you don't know where you end. And it's like, I don't know if it's easy to do or not, but I was pretty good at it in my own head. And then obviously you've got to contend with the wind, which is a lot harder if there is one because it's moving. But you can do the same thing, and you can get to a point where it feels like you're moving at the same time as the wind, and it's the all one kind of ideal. And then I'd have my eyes closed, and I'd look into the blackness behind my eyes, and I'd slowly move through layers of blackness.
Wow.
And as I moved through, I could hear like a pitch, and it would go, and then eventually I'd hit white, and it'd just go boom and hit white, and it'd be a high pitched kind of thing, and it would feel like just an intense pleasure through my whole body, and so I would do that when I went to sleep, and which was easier because there's no wind and you're just in bed and it's super comfortable. But what happens is because you're concentrating, your mind stays active, or your body's at rest, so your body falls asleep or your mind's still awake, and that's that kick that you were talking about when you go, it's a reflex because your mind's still awake, it doesn't want the body. This is my theory, I have no idea.
Right, yeah.
And then
That makes sense.
and then when your body actually falls asleep but your mind's still awake, that's sleep paralysis, and that's you trying to move but you can't move, and then fear sets in because you can't do what you want to do. Right. But that like sits parallel to lucid dreaming, which is where you drift off and you go into the dream state where I can't remember the technicalities, but there's a certain chemical that's released in your brain that lets your mind accept the ridiculous things that are happening.
Yep.
So you don't think, oh, that's weird that there's a dude with a bird head walking past or whatever it is.
Okay, that's what's happening.
But so some of the lucid dreams that I remember doing was the first time was similar to you, that realization. So I grew up here, and I remember I was in this dream, I was at the memorial park, but it was also like fused with the, I don't know what it is now. At the time it was, I think an op shop or something. It's that like little building across from the Buffalo Beach toilets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like these two areas fused together. And I remember like realizing like, oh, why is this two places at once? And then it clicked, and I was like, oh, I'm fucking dreaming. And then I was like, what can I do while I'm dreaming? And I started running around real fast, like Sonic or something, and then started jumping real high and trying to fly. And this is where it gets weird. And then there's like this giant tree that just like reaches up forever, and I'm jumping real high up into these high branches, and there's a little balloon at the top of the tree, and I get the balloon and it pulls me up higher above the tree. Yeah. And then I'm just floating in the air, and this like serene voice is telling me to let go. And I was like, nah, fuck that.
It's a dream, but
I'm not that stupid. I'm not that stupid.
But eventually I did, and I remember just floating there for a second, and then I started flying, and then it started going faster and faster and faster and faster, and then it just ripped into blackness, and then I woke up.
Man.
And yeah, and that was the first time. And then there's a multitude of other ones in there where I did all sorts of things. But it all culminated in when I was living in Christchurch, and we lived in this like little shotgun house. You know, there's like one long house that split into like 3 rooms, and we were in the end, and there was like one door to the outside and our bed there, and then one door that carried on inside. And I woke up and sat up in my bed, and then looked down, and I was still lying in my bed.
Oh.
And so my legs were in the same place.
Psychedelic
but
shit.
yeah, and I looked down, I was like, what the hell? And there was this line going from my belly button to my other belly button, this white line, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then as I'm confused, I walked through. The door didn't open or anything, like a ghost style, like walked through the door. And so I'm lying there on the bed asleep, sitting up for myself and looking at me walking through the door, and I could see through both of my eyes at once. I could see, as if I had just walked through the door into the room, I could see me lying in bed, 2 of me, and I could also see the me that just walked into the room. And it just like broke my brain for a second. I fucking woke up and was like, nah, fuck that. I'm not that anymore.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Man, and cool things that make me connect with what you're saying. Like, you are really into video games, and you're really into ancient civilizations.
Yes.
Right. So I don't even know which one to start with. I think I'm going to start with video games, because what a beautiful thing for kids who tap into a lot of cartoons and creative stuff, because that's when the fantasy and all those crazy things come to our brain.
Yeah.
So for adults,
the escapism.
I was just reading tonight, because I did a little blurb just to promote the show. 2.4 billion people in the world play video games, so it's 80% of all. Like, they are raw stats.
Yeah.
Come on, internet, give me a break. But like 80% of all the people who play video games are adults.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the demographics.
Over 18 years old. 18
to 30 or 18 to 35 or something like that.
Golly.
And I think it's even closer now, because it used to be we used to think the demographic was overwhelmingly male. I think it's closer to 50-50 now.
Quite a lot. I think it was like 1.7 or 1.8 men and 1.39, almost 4 for chicks. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right?
I know more. I have to admit, I do know more girls who play games than guys. It's crazy.
How did that start for you, and what are your favorite ones? Because you have a collection of old school games,
Yeah, I have way too much.
You got Tekken in your shop.
Yeah, I know. It's depressing. I never get to play any of them. I don't know. How did it start?
Was it present? Was it at home?
No, well, not until I was a little bit older. We didn't have. We were reasonably low on the economic rung, I think. And so I used to get to do it when I went around to friends' houses, and my friend would be like, "Oh, come on, let's go play outside." And I'm like, "Nah, man,
Video games, man. Yeah, I'm here.
So I never get to do this
what
shit
was
back off.
What was the video game at the time? Mega Drive or shit?
Nah, the first ones that I got to play.
'Cause you're younger than me. Yeah, you're 33. Yeah.
Yeah. The first game I ever played, I think, was Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, God, that was the best.
Yeah, and then it was Pokemon on the Game Boy, stuff like that. And then when I got a little bit older, Halo. But it was Halo was good because you played it with your friends. We were all sitting on the couch. You don't do that now. You play online. It's a weird thing. I don't like that, but that's just me.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I prefer to be in the room with people.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I just had all these, with the collecting, I just had all these nostalgic memories, these good times. And so I slowly started picking up the games that I used to like. And then because I liked a certain game on a certain console, I'd pick up the console, and then I'd see a game that was, at the op shop, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool, and I'd pick it up, and then I'd find out that actually I got it for $3, but it was worth $120.
Yeah.
And then it kind of was like a little addiction clicked over in my brain. And now I have a garage full of games that I can't play.
Did you get to understand and learn more about the history of them after you started collecting them? Like, are there cool stories or things that you found out about games that you have?
Oh, I mean, there's all sorts. There's God, I'm not going to be able to think of any right now.
I remember. Like when something will come to you now that I put that out. I remember Doom.
Oh, Doom
being forbidden in Brazil.
Really?
Was it forbidden or was it just a thing, Taylor? I remember that it was,
You weren't allowed to play it.
It was forbidden,
we have this thing in Brazil, the government forbidding a lot of games and things like that.
Yeah. So they banned the game in Brazil, and I remember
because it had demons in it.
Oh fuck!
What?
Because it was this guy. Yeah.
You were killing him. You were the good guy.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to play Wolfenstein where you killed the Nazis?
I don't remember all the things, but like we have those crimes in real life. What? In Brazil,
you've got heaps of Nazis still there in South America,
man,
right?
Shit. And that's a good conversation actually, because I don't know if I have a strong opinion about it. Of like a lot of people say, "Oh, but games are not good," and a lot of the times I think they are a little bit too much. But I don't know if the answer is to not let people play.
No, I don't think they're overwhelmingly negative. I think it's the same as anything. It's how they're used and what kind of controls are put in place. Like my kids, they have an Xbox at their mother's house, and it's got my account signed into it. And they downloaded a free game, and just the other day I had to message her and be like, "Hey, the kids just bought something. I got $10 missing out of my account. What the fuck is it?"
I'm glad it was just 10.
Yeah,
well,
that could have
that's
been
cheap.
worse. Yeah. Fucking Roblox. I don't know what that was. But yeah, so you definitely have to be careful. And there's definitely like an addictive kind of nature to them, especially these days with the loot boxes and the skins and the free battle passes and all this kind of stuff.
Well,
But
the loot
I said,
What is a free battle
kids
pass?
kind
What?
of-
well, so they make games that are free to play, essentially. So you can download it for free.
Yeah.
But then,
to get further in the game or to make
well,
it faster.
they for the most part they don't do that anymore because it's unethical, and some countries have actually banned it when it's pay to win. But they'll have what do they call
Skins.
it? Yeah, skins. So like aesthetics stuff.
Cosmetics for the game.
So if you've got the guy that looks all golden or whatever that you've bought, then you're cool kind of thing. And so it's like a schoolyard hierarchy kind of thing. If you've got the basic thing and you turn up,
yeah.
you're a fucking loser.
Do you guys gamble?
I
I occasionally play Lotto.
I love their answer. Occasionally.
Occasionally play Lotto.
Occasionally. They both
I don't-
straight away. Occasionally.
No, that's not
I was gonna
every
say
day.
buy scratchies. He said
Buy
lotto.
scratchies. Occasionally, yeah.
I'm like, sometimes I just want that. Like I know
That
I'm gonna
little
lose.
adrenaline, yeah, but
I was
it's
gonna say
that
the
like the
dopamine.
chance, the dopamine. of
How is the max that you can get out of a scratchy?
I don't know.
Free ticket, I think.
Another one. You get another.
I don't know. I won
far as I know.
$750 on the Lotto one day.
Oh, get out of here!
Yeah, I watched that. Little
You won the lotto.
$750. Yeah, I
so much
watched
better than
Mary and Max. There's this claymation movie about these two characters who are pen pals, and the guy buys the lotto ticket one day, and I copied the lotto ticket numbers,
Fuck
put them on my ticket, and the next day $750, and I was like, okay,
Really? That's a cool story.
it was
I
so
wanna
cool. I
start
was
copying
so
numbers
happy.
off TV shows.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was a cool little show. I was like, "Whoa, that worked." Hang on.
No, yeah, I just buy the scratchies, get a couple of them, and then like you get them, and I'll scratch it so that I know. Oh yeah, I've got 3. So this one's a winning one, but I'll still finish scratching off the whole ticket before I go and scratch my losing prize. And because I know at the end it's going to be like it's like having.
I don't even know how they
They
work.
get you
How is it? Like,
excited. They give
it's
you.
just a rush.
I don't even know. So like, do you scratch as it goes, and then you get to a point that you
They're
lose?
all different. They're all different. They all
Right,
have
okay,
different little
okay,
games. There's like crossword ones, and you're like you're given all the letters, and you scratch, and you're like, oh, I'm about to win, and then your last letters are Q and Z or something like that. And you're like, fuck, if I could have just got an E and an A, but they only give you one vowel or something like that. You know? Like it's set up, but it's still for a minute there. Your brain's like, ooh.
Or the ones where you do when you get all of them, and then the prize is like a free ticket.
Yeah, that's
something. It's like,
yeah.
But not machines.
No,
not like
never.
pokey shit.
I remember I played pokies once when I was younger. I like put $20 in it and lost the $20, and then I was like, man, I could have used it to buy drinks.
Fuck this.
So it's like, yeah.
Are you into that, Azzie?
I've
to put
played
some-
pokies once. I went up to Auckland a few months ago and went in the casino.
Is it fun?
It was.
Expensive.
It could have been expensive.
Could have gotten a lap dance instead, eh?
I could have. I won $60. I went in with $20 and came out with
This
60.
guy, eh?
I was like, but the amount of
Bullshit.
time it took and the vibe in the casino was like, there was a lady next to me who put $250 in and got nothing.
Yeah.
I put $20 in and came out with 60. But that was just complete luck of the draw. But you see people just throwing money in and getting nothing, and then walking out looking really bad.
And then you watch someone else jump on their machine and
And
put
then
a tour
I
and win the
did.
jackpot.
That's what I did. I went on this machine. The lady lost all this money. I went and I was like $5, and then 55 came out, and then I played around and I ended up $40 up. But it was like, but this is just after some lady next to me had lost 250. And I was like, but then beginner's luck maybe. Those machines, all the flashy lights, and
Beginner's
the
luck, I mean, is the
possibility.
same as anyone else's luck. It's just luck.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Yeah. Stu worked in he was telling me that he worked. I think it was a bar in Wellington or something, and he said that like it was quite full on to see like payday, especially people coming, all the money, you know, like the payday, all the money they had, man, just
Wins.
all gone. Wins, yeah.
But it's stupid.
But there's a way to keep social class alive, right? You give the money to people throughout welfares and stuff, which I strongly believe that it should be like that there should be like I believe in universal income and all that stuff, like because we should be leveling people up. It's just not fair, like people living in misery. But then obviously you deviate as well, like you get people who cannot cope with that, and you're just giving them money so they can be in the vicious cycle of losing that money and going back to getting that money again. But at the same time, the gaming, it's strong ass. And then what I think is even worse is when they give money for projects and stuff, like cultural shit. You're like, wow, you're damaging a lot of lives, and then you're using the money to fund a lot of cultural projects, like kind of like, oh, try to look cool.
Like, you mean the pokey money?
Because it happens, right?
Yeah,
So you can apply
we
for
used to do it here. They do, you know, the
That's how they get away with it, kind of thing.
Fund
Oh, we're
the
a
rugby
charity,
trips
we
and
do
things
all
like
these
that.
things. Yeah.
Find it weird. I understand, but I just find it weird.
It's like having cigarette vending machines to fund cancer research.
Well, having alcohol sponsoring sports events. What do you guys think about that? Love this topic.
Seems like a clash of interest.
Little bit, eh?
That's where the money is. It's kind of they have the money. The sports want the money, and the alcohol have got the most money to give them, or the
I know sports,
companies.
depending on what sport it is, they generate a lot of money themselves.
That sports do now, yeah.
And most of us will watch having a drink anyway.
Yeah, fair.
Right?
I don't watch much sports.
Not your thing?
No.
Not my thing either. It used to be
I don't
football.
mind watching it. Yeah, watching it live and watching people that I know. But I won't go watch the All Blacks.
Not your thing.
No.
Azzie? No.
Got better things to do.
Other things, I don't watch
Kids.
as much sports. I watch cooking programs more.
Yeah, love cooking programs. I don't watch that
but
much, but I like it. Eh?
Yeah, but sports, man. Occasionally, like if the Paralympics is on, I
Yo,
watch that. Or I love sailing, so I watch the America's Cup.
is New Zealand succeeding, doing good in any of the Paralympics?
We've done reasonably good in some of the games. We've got a few pretty good athletes out there.
Shout out.
So yeah, and we're good at sailing. We're very good at sailing in both the America's Cup and the parasailing. We're pretty good up there.
And if you look at it by a per capita thing, we are really good at sports.
Yeah.
That's crazy how well we do on the world stage.
That was one of the coolest things when I started working at the school here, like realizing how many modalities the kids get to enjoy and then to participate. You know, I was like, wow, in Brazil it's all about like football, handball for chicks, you know, like for the boy. It opens up your lungs, you know. In Bolivia, even the president supports that, and you needing high attitudes. But yeah, like I was surprised with how prolific and how cool it is that you can tap into so many different modalities.
Over here, there's a lot of choice now. It's quite cool.
And the other thing that I was going to was the ancient civilizations that you really like to read about. A big thing in your life.
Yeah. It was crazy. I remember finding the book Fingerprints of the Gods from Graham Hancock. I don't know if anyone knows Graham Hancock. He done that documentary recently on Netflix, which was a bit meh. It wasn't that well done. I don't think it kind of showed off his work that well. But I remember reading that book, and it starts off with this map called the Piri Reis map, which is from like the 1500s or something like this. This Turkish admiral he was, and he had this map that was a conglomerate of maps that he said were even older, and it showed, God, what was on? I can't remember now. There was like the coast of South America, and you could see that like the tracing had been done a little bit wrong because there was 2 Amazon rivers. When you look at it, and then it also had down the bottom, it had what they think was the coast of Queen Maudlin's, I think, which is part of Antarctica, but it showed it the coastline as it was measured. It had been done by radar underneath the ice, and which would have been thousands of years before the last time that was ice-free. And the book opens with that and a quote from the Air Force, who have been sent this map, and the Royal American Air Force, or whatever the fuck it's called, had sent back this email saying, we do believe that is the case, and that's what it is depicting. And I was like, what the fuck is this? My teenage brain just exploded. And there was, and then there's a quote from Einstein talking about how plate tectonics might work, and how, and I think this has been disproven since, but there was a fellow called Charles Hapgood who had this idea called crustal displacement, where after the planet had been spinning for a certain amount of time, a certain amount of force, I don't know if it would be centripetal or centrifugal force, would build up on the exterior, on the crust, and despite the plates, the entirety of the, what would you call it, the crust would move in one go, and then it would cause, obviously, untold catastrophe or whatever, but it was kind of like an idea of how some of these cataclysms that have occurred would have occurred. But I think recently they've replaced that idea with the Younger Dryas impact. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No.
Yeah.
Which was a meteor or asteroid that came in and then shattered above Europe and landed in the ice sheets about over America and Europe about 12,000 years ago, and created
Okay, 12,000. Okay.
so like 9,600 BC or something like that, I think was the date, and created all this meltwater that then flooded through all the continents. And they think that could be some of the basis for some of the flood stories, which exist all over the world through, I think there's like over 500 different cultures that have different flood stories that are similar to Noah's Ark and things like that. And then so I read this in Graham Hancock's book, and then I read a book called The Decipher, which is like by this author Stel Pavlo, which was a fictionalized retelling of the same thing. And then from there I started getting into the actual like historical stuff I could find. So reading the Bible, which I've read a few times now. It's just silly, don't do it, it's boring as hell. So you got the story of Noah and the building of the ark, etc., etc. But then in actual fact, there's the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is
Love that story.
Yeah, which is written.
What is the story?
Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah, so he was 2/3 a god, and he was a king of an ancient city in Mesopotamia. I think it was Ur or Uruk. I can't remember exactly. And he went on a quest to try and find a way to live forever. And he met an old wise man. I think, there's a few different names. It's not Atrahasis. I can't remember the names right now. But but yeah, he meets this other guy who is essentially the what would you call it? Like the prototype for Noah. He has the exact same story, like down to after building the ark, after being warned by the gods, which were I think it's Enlil or Enki or something, one of these ancient Babylonian gods, that the gods are angry with how man has progressed, and that they're trying to do things beyond their station, so they're going to kill them all with a giant flood. 5,000 years before, and this god sneaks down to tell this man, because he likes men.
Tell him what's happening.
Get your mind out of the gutter. So he goes down and tells this guy to build an ark or a big box, and it's got the dimensions and stuff. And then after the flood happens, he lets out the birds, the raven and the dove and stuff like that. It's like the exact same story. And then I started seeing those comparisons. I was just like, this is wild. And then you start seeing them like intercontinental.
Yeah.
And
They all kind of mesh together.
I don't know if there's anything to it. Like there's a lot of people who say it's pseudoscience and stuff like that. But there's a lot of coincidences that are kind of hard to dismiss. So.
It's just upsetting that we rely so much on the Bible. And when you start going back and understanding the other civilizations, you see how many similarities there are, right? The stories are very similar.
Yeah, 100%.
So tapping into science to try to explain them, it would make more sense.
Well, so I always like the idea of what do they call it, comparative mythology. So you look at the similarities between the religions. They're always going to be like points of difference and whatever between everything, especially culturally.
Culture, yeah.
I mean, there's lots of points of similarity as well. It's like,
so in my opinion, and this might make some people angry, and I'm sorry.
Let's go.
But the Muslim Muslim Allah, the Jewish Yahweh, and the what do you call them, God, from the Middle East and all that. That's all the same God. That's from a monotheistic religion, but it's all the same. They're talking about the same thing. It's just represented in different ways culturally. And then before monotheism, you can go back to how the Romans adopted the Greek pantheon and just gave them different names. So instead of Zeus, you had Jupiter. Instead of whatever.
Because those civilizations were reading documents that came before them and understanding what came before and making their interpretations as well, probably, right? That's what we do. We tap into things that are not from that long ago and we make our interpretations on them.
Well, I think the Roman Greek thing was just a way to, even though the Romans ended up turning towards the monotheistic thing.
They make it their own.
Yeah, they wanted to keep the Greek people that they had within their sphere happy, so they gave them their same gods with different names, but they could still worship the same people. But even within that, you can still see like the three brothers kind of dynamic. The god of heaven, the god of the underworld, and the god of the sea, and you can see that in India and wherever you go. There's that same kind of dynamic.
What about when it comes to things that we cannot actually explain unless we go out of Earth, unless we go to extraterrestrial? Yeah. Do you tap into that as well? I love that book that you have at base that shows the patterns in the grass.
Yeah, I haven't even read that book.
but it's so cool because it's a cool tabletop. It has those two
the
things of
circles,
a lot of them people can tell that it's man-made or they have a guess, but some of them are just insane. And
I mean, I don't know. I tend to think statistically there is other life out there. Whether it's visited, I don't know. It seems, I mean, just in the last couple of years we've had was it NASA? Was it the Air Force releasing actual footage that they say is UFOs, or now they call them UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. Which is silly, just changing. I think they're trying to get away from the stigma or whatever. But yeah, there was an actual government agency releasing video footage. I remember Joe Rogan had David Fravor on, one of the pilots who recorded one of them.
And he had that guy who worked for at Area 51A.
Bob Lazar. He's one of my favorite stories of all time. He's out the gate.
And people it made him kind of didn't give attention to him at all.
There was a couple of weird
things. Do you know this guy? Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar, yeah.
And he had, God, I can't remember. He had a degree in, God, I can't remember what it was anymore. But he actually went to school. He had all the history and that. But then after he came out with the story, they kind of scrubbed his history. And so they went, and the school had no records of him. But then they found old telephone records that actually still had him going there and stuff like that. So that was a bit of a red flag. You're like, why are they trying to erase the fact that he went to the school and had this kind of education and stuff? And then also that in his first interview, he mentioned this thing, I think it was element 115 or something like that, which wasn't discovered at the time. And he called it Unknown Pentium. And he's like, this is what runs their engines. And they're like, oh, but an element, that high on the periodic table would be unstable. And he's like, oh, but at this point, there's an island of stability where the element actually doesn't decay as fast as it should. And then now we have that element and we've discovered it, and there is an island of stability there, and there is a stable isotope. I don't know if they called it unpentium officially, but it was just weird things. Like, why?
Well, and then they tried to shut him down, bringing something up. So it really shows that people are very interested in keeping our knowledge
Yeah, and then
subdued,
the game,
subdued.
right?
They want us to be kind of dumbed down and
well, even recently he did that that documentary with the fella Jeremy Corbell, who's a bit of a kind of personality who annoys me, but he made the documentary. It was okay, but even while they were making that documentary, Bob Lazar got raided by the FBI or the CIA or something like that. So I don't know. You think what you will. There's definitely some weird
there's
stuff
something
going on.
There's something going on.
Something going on. Yeah. Why would they
And
keep
then
it away
you've
from
got-
us, bro?
Well, you've got David Grush
Money.
now, which I haven't watched much of, but I think he just did a Joe Rogan as well. But he's saying there is aliens, and we do have pieces of aircraft 100% and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'd have to watch some of the videos.
I don't know if it's money.
Well, no money, no. It's knowledge, maybe.
Yeah.
I was just
Because the
thinking that.
system is built
knowledge.
in a
It's-
way that like
was
whoever is in charge knows that it's going to collapse sooner or later. So they're
Was it-
trying to keep
Was
this.
it the whole thing of like,
Power, control.
did they think we're all going to freak out and like things are going to stop working and systems
Yeah.
are going to break down or whatever? Because my ex-partner Elisa always had this really interesting theory that I liked and I think is way more realistic, where the aliens land on the White House lawn or whatever, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And for like 2 months, everyone's like, "Well, what's going on? What's going on?" And then watching the news, and people are, we're going to do this new discovery, and we've got now working with these extraterrestrial beings, and we're going to build interstellar, and then you realize like maybe a month later, you're like, "Yeah, I still got to pay my rent though, so I'm going to go back to work anyway." People need houses to live in, toilets cleaned and whatnot. So things are just going to carry on. You can't, society can't just collapse because of aliens. There'll be the equivalent of, when Europeans are colonizing or whatever, and then the Europeans turn up and they're like, "Oh, there's people out there," and then they just, and whoever the natives are, just suddenly stop farming or something and let their livestock go. You're not going to do that. You still need to live.
I feel like the only, and it's so much ignorance from my side because I wish I was more knowledgeable about all those things, but like I guess there's a lot of resources out in space, right? That would be very valuable for us. So
Unobtainium.
I feel like that's one of the
Yeah, it could be though, 100%.
that's one of the things. Maybe like why would you make that
seen
open?
June,
If
eh?
I'm sorry,
June.
June.
I have not watched it. The Spice Trade.
Oh, bro.
I've got the books. I'm meant to read them.
Oh, they're
Yeah?
so good. That's all about that.
About how I'll grab it for you, man.
The resources that they need from the planets to travel, they kind of harvest. And it's all about the different resources that you get from different planets.
And isn't there one that keeps them
the
alive
spice.
forever or something
It's
like
the
that?
spice.
Yeah.
It's the poo of the worms.
Oh, the giant
The giant
sandworms.
sandworms is the spice.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler.
Watching
Hey, if
as
you
in
haven't
June.
seen June, you don't need
Apparently
to
the
worry
new
about
one's real good.
it.
Timothy
It's
Chalamet.
really good, man. It's really good. I highly recommend it. So, no, thank you. No, definitely, I think you should watch June. I think you'd like it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
June.
I think with all that stuff, that Ancient Aliens. By the way, Ancient Aliens. Speaking of one of the best shows ever.
Ancient.
Ever. Even if you watch it just as a comedy show because you think this stuff is stupid, watch Ancient Aliens wherever you can find. I think there's probably on Prime or Disney or something like that. The first 2 seasons are the only ones I can really vouch for. It kind of spins or gets a bit lost after that, but the first 2 seasons are fucking just amazing TV. It's just an official Discovery Channel or History Channel documentary.
Right, yeah.
Got good production value, and then you've got the
then it
ancient megaliths and stuff like that. So it takes you around the world to all these crazy geological sites that may or may not be built by aliens or ancient civilizations. Who cares about the
But then you got the carvings in the old Mayan pyramids of people in spaceships.
Love the shit.
well,
Well,
maybe.
Well, they look like vehicles that are powered by something.
There's
not-
definitely some interesting ones. There's the Lord Pakal's tomb, and it looks like he's got like foot pedals, and he's like got a dial and there's like a breathing thing going into his nose and stuff like that. But at the top of it, there's also a rooster standing on it. So
you never know.
but it is an interesting looking picture. Can we pull that up, Jamie? No, sorry.
Do you guys think we've been out of Earth and back?
To the moon.
Like
yeah.
but I mean no in civilizations way before us, like have we developed technologies that we haven't got there yet, or you guys think that we are at the peak of what we consider
you've
like
seen the Tesla stuff, or the Nikola Tesla's, like the pyramids. Oh, sorry.
now you all good?
You see the pyramids, and why the Teslas thought of the pyramids being a way of the ancient Egyptians used the pyramids
Power
as
generator or whatever.
Power generator, how they harness the energy of the earth, the outer atmosphere, and they use the pyramids as a conductor. So there is lots
I
of
haven't
theories
seen
out there
that
a lot of
particularly.
the old Teslas and like the Tesla generators, some of the old ones that he was trying to make, but then they got shut down.
I remember
by
something
the
about him
new
trying to do
money.
like a wireless transmission of electricity.
Yeah.
That was interesting. And I remember another quote about him saying the world rang like a bell, and being able to harness that frequency would create infinite power. But I don't know a lot about it.
because I feel like that's the problem. We try to understand things from our perspective, but this thing of extracting oil, it was our jam. Maybe all the civilizations made it way smarter than us, and we won't find evidence because we just thought differently.
That's an interesting thing, going back to those stories of the flood. If you look at them, they all kind of match up to, so you've got, I think in the Bible with Noah and the flooding of the earth, it talks about the Nephilim, which were like a race of giants. And if you read, because the Bible is kind of like a curated selection of certain ancient texts that specific people thought made a cohesive whole. But there's a bunch of other books that weren't added. So there's like, God, I'm not going to be able to remember them now, but there's one about, I think, Jesus when he's younger. There's one about his mother, like a Psalm of Mary or something like that. There's the Book of Enoch, which was one of the more interesting ones. I think there's a Book of James, which is meant to be Jesus's brother. And I don't know the like how true each of these are, but and you've got the Dead Sea Scrolls as well, which also retold a bunch of those books in different words and stuff like that. But in the Book of Enoch particularly, it had a story about I can't remember the exact name they used from within that, but essentially the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever, and him and his 200 followers.
200 followers, more than a lot of people nowadays. God damn.
Subscribe, like and subscribe.
Subscribe to the devil.
And they went down to Earth and they found and disobeyed God, and they wanted to go down to Earth and have delight in earthly pleasures, I think was some of the words. And they were attracted to the men, the woman of man, saying, which implied that they were a different species, race, whatever. And they lay with the woman, and then they bore children, and these children were giants. And then that was part of the reason for God flooding the earth, was to kill these giants. And they said because once again the men were trying to be above their station. So it's almost like, and it's the same story that you hear about Atlantis. Atlantis got too big for its boots, so it got destroyed in a night and a day. The Tower of Babel, men built a tower to get to the gods, and then gods were like, no, that's no good, so they confused them all with their languages, so they couldn't communicate. You have the same story, God, I'm reaching now, I think in the Enuma Elish, which is like a Babylonian creation story, which says men tried to see farther than they could, so they brought the floods and destroyed man to put them back in their place. And it all just seems like men were, like, the idea of that ancient civilization were becoming so technologically advanced that the gods had to put them in check. And then that kind of once again goes into the whole alien thing. So you've got, have you guys heard of Zachariah Sitchin?
No.
So he was like a precursor to Eric von Daniken, who wrote Chariots of the Gods, which was
Yeah.
So Zachariah Sitchin wrote this series. I think it was called like the Earth Chronicles or whatever. But he claimed to have translated these ancient tablets, and he had the story about the Anunnaki. It was him, and so and then so there's the idea that there was a master race of aliens or whatever that came here, seeded life here, and then they were, I think his story was they were trying to, their atmosphere of their planet had been blown away or destroyed to some degree, and so they were trying to mine gold here so they could use the gold to suspend in their atmosphere to reflect the sunlight so their atmosphere could reestablish itself or something like that. I don't know the scientific validity of that. But I think that was the story. And then the aliens who were on Earth, they were working in the mines trying to get the gold. And they were not like grey alien black, they were like us, but bigger, is the consensus. And they there was some sort of primitive life on Earth that would have been, Neanderthal or whatever, Cro-Magnon man, and they fused their DNA with whatever primitive species was here to create us, essentially. And then they used us as a slave, which they called the Adamu, which once again I don't know how well he translated it, but he said Adamu, which then matches up with Adam being the first man. There's like these little interesting things.
Oh, shit.
And they were these slaves in the mines to extract the gold. But then you can extrapolate from there and be like, these men might have started getting too big for their boots and creating their own society. And so these were the gods. It wasn't a story of Jehovah bringing a flood because giants were made from demons falling from the sky and mating with women. It was actually aliens who created this hybrid race, and then some of the aliens found the women of them attractive. They mated with them. They were bigger. They did create these giants, and then
all about sex at the end of the day.
And then they created these ancient societies like Atlantis or whatever, and they started becoming too powerful, and the gods were worried about it, so they killed them all and started again. I don't know. It's just it's a theory, but it's an interesting one, and there's a lot of stuff that like matches up.
Yes. I love listening to that stuff.
Yeah,
as I said,
same.
I'm so ignorant, but I love listening to takes that deviate from the expected. Man in the sky, whatever, or we don't know. Like, man, we do know a lot of stuff. We just have to go and tap more into them. With more intent, with more like let's. You're good.
Yeah, I got it.
Got it. Yeah,
Got it.
professional.
Nailed it. Yeah, the man in the sky thing's funny because my my ex-partner's my ex-mother-in-law. I don't know however the fuck you say that.
Good, new term.
Yeah. Oxford, add that.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie fell asleep, man. He's got a match. He's got a. Oh, no, he's there. He's
Blanket on
a
over
blanket,
there.
yeah.
He's ready.
He's hiding. He's really prepared.
It's professional, man. He's good.
Yeah, so she's heavily religious and she is brainwashing my children in the background whenever they go and stay with her. She's like, Jesus loves you, and then like it's come back to me. I'm like, they're like, Jesus loves me. I'm like, I don't even, I think Jesus was real, but he's not the Son of God. And they're like, well, then who was he? I'm like, he's just a dude, and
he's a black guy.
He wasn't black.
Not
No,
black,
he
but
wasn't. No, middle.
not white either.
No,
He
they
wasn't
were.
white. He was Middle Eastern.
You've seen their skin color. It is closer to white in general, like, but it's not white.
But not the surfer Jesus that we
It's
used to.
Hebrew, Hang Tim Bro Jesus, I love that. Buddy Jesus, That's
Buddy
Dogma.
Jesus, yeah.
God, that was good. But yeah, and then they came back to me, and I said all the stuff, and then they went back to Nanny and told her that I'd said that God wasn't real, or I didn't think God was real, because even though they're only 6 and 4, I try and just talk to them as if they're adults.
Yeah.
I go get real deep. I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know. He could be real. He might not be real. You know, he could be a girl. I don't know. And like, it's like, what? You know, these concepts are way too big for them. It's way easier just to be like, there's the man in the sky, which is how we got here.
Yes.
Anyway, they went back to their nanny, and then they came back to me, and my daughter's like, yeah, no, God is real. And I'm like, well, that's fine. You can think he's real, but I don't think he's real. And she goes, well, Nanny said you'll find out when you die. I was like, what? But then I was like, so where is God? And she's like, oh, he's up in the sky. I was like, what, so you can see him when you're flying? And she's like, no, he's invisible. I'm like, so what does he do? And she's like, you can talk to him. Like, have you talked to him? And she's like, no, I've tried. He doesn't talk back. I'm like, so there's an invisible man in the sky that you can't see, and he doesn't interact with you. So what's the difference between not believing in him and believing in him?
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, if it helps you, I'm not insulting anyone.
Man, that's cool. That's cool because that's a. Sorry, you finish it.
The last little story was just a stupid one. We were driving up to my dad's house in Whangapoua, and she was like, I wish God was real. And I was like, why is that? And she's like, because his big hand could come out of the cloud and pick up our car and take it to dad's house.
There you go. That's a good way to use God for our sake.
I love the way
Please, God, if
kids
we could just
think,
get
hey?
there.
The way kids think is that's like, just keep it simple. It's like they could just do that and that. Just make it so much easier.
Man,
God,
cool.
the mind of a kid is, mate.
Cool that you're bringing that up because I love that saying that like no one knows how to raise a child. You know, like you might
You're just
read.
trying to fuck them up as little as possible.
Yeah, because society is already doing a big job of ruining their lives. You know, like so I see parents really trying to give it a go and not ruin it, but some parents can't do it.
Yeah.
But that's cool because especially in the educational system, like there's a lot of guidelines of what not to say. And I always remember people. I'm like, it doesn't matter how much you tell educators not to say. Like the real education is at home.
Yeah.
So whatever is happening at home, you know, dictates what the child is going to be. So that's interesting.
Like,
your take.
friends actually have a huge impact.
You've got the social group.
Taylor always says that. He like, it doesn't matter how cool you are. It's that kids at the end of the room.
Yeah,
Straight
the
up,
social
my
group
daughter will
that's
come
gonna
home
change the
and
most.
she's like, I don't eat bacon anymore. I'm like, well, you love bacon. She's like, nah, Malia doesn't eat bacon, so I don't eat bacon.
Yeah.
Oh, vegan friends. Vegan friends.
So you love bacon. That's messed
Bloody
up.
hell, Leo. Bloody hell.
That was not me. That was not the drum teacher.
Yeah.
The
Not
teacher
you.
keeps it cool.
Yeah, that's right. You're
But now I know.
Like,
Good on you. Good on you, John. But you're right. You're right. The social.
It's the social group. It's even adults. It's like the 5 people we hang around the most. It's undoubtedly become more like them.
that's why I'm
It's
weird
just
as I spend too
what
much time by
happens.
myself.
Well, I'm sure there'll be 5 different people that you hang out with, and you'll find that you'll be more like. If you look at the 5 people that you kind of spend the most time with,
You get a lot out of them.
you'll get a lot out of them. You'll
believe in
notice
it, yeah.
similarities, and if you start hanging out with one person more, you'll just pick up traits and just
Because I feel like in
I don't
a
even
way,
know who I hang out with.
unconsciously, we kind of adapt to the person in front of us.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like you try to.
It's like
level up.
assimilating accent.
Yes. So the more you
mirror,
do
you
that,
try and mirror. You try and mirror.
so it's just happened that you're tapping into that, and if you're spending more time with that person, it just becomes a part of you as well, right?
Kind of just how it works. It's how we learn. It's how we've always learned to do this. It's copying other people. It's how we've grown. It's how we've learned from being kids. Is we've copied our parents. We've copied our friends.
He's not wrong.
Not wrong.
Picked up traits from them and
Is
we
it-
do that.
Is it harder than what you thought it would be to raise kids, or
I don't know if it's. I didn't really think of what it would be like. Like it was out of the blue.
so you never freaked out? Like, oh man, I'm gonna be a father.
No. It was mildly annoying because I was the first time I was doing okay. Like had money to go out and go and get lunch and dinner and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is sweet. Like I can, instead of being like, oh, have I got enough money for a 6-pack of bourbons? I had a bottle of bourbon and Coke in the fridge or whatever. And then, I got maybe 4 months of that and then positive test. I was like, oh, whatever you want to do, babe, I'm going to support you. And she's like, I'm not getting an abortion. I was like, fuck.
Altbays show, kids. Listen to the shit. When they find out about us, they're gonna say those guys were revolutionaries, man. It might take a while.
It was a blessing for sure. For me, I don't know about other guys. Like, here's another hot take, but I found it hard to find direction in my life. So kids kind of gave me that.
God,
Yeah,
they give
yeah,
so
which was
much
good.
direction. They give you something
Before
else
that,
to
I was
focus
like, people are always like, oh, you got to care about yourself and love yourself. And I'm like, yeah.
But the thing that you mentioned before, it sounded funny, and it's something that we hear a lot. But like, I find it much more honorable for a man to say that if he's feeling that, and still say, but it's your decision, it's your body, and I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna do it,
And it was
we're gonna
the
do
best
it.
thing. It was
right?
the best decision ultimately. Like, yeah, it was hard. Like, I remember I was working on not civil construction. I was doing commercial construction. So I was working on high-rise buildings, like 4 or 5-story buildings in Christchurch. And I remember I was up in the roof of this building, and Charlie, when she was born, she kind of it was a trouble bit. She ended up in the NICU ward for the first week. Apart from when she was first born, the first time I saw her, she was like in a little plastic box kind of thing with all the tubes and stuff like that. Yeah, which was pretty crazy. She was huge. She was like 9 pounds or something like that.
Whoa.
But she'd swallowed some blood and stuff like that. So it was a little bit of a worry. But because of that, she didn't. I don't know how it works or if it would work like this every time, but she didn't end up doing breastfeeding because the connection wasn't there as a baby. It didn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we went straight to bottle feeding because she just wouldn't do it, which meant that we kind of went 50-50 on the duty. So I'd wake up in the middle of the night and do the feeding as much as Elisa would. And then sometimes that meant that I would be, I'd get half an hour sleep before I had to go to work after I'd been feeding the baby or whatever. And I remember being on the roof of this building and I'm like nailing plywood in place. I don't know why I'm doing that. I would have had a nail gun. And then just like falling asleep and like waking up at work,
Wow.
still leaning on the thing and being like, whoa, like so insanely tired. It was.
You related to the mother's responsibility, bro. You felt it in your skin because a lot of men fail on that, on acknowledging that we don't know how it feels to be a mother, and you had to put up with the wake up. But you know what I mean? Like kind of. You dealt with the responsibility of waking up to feed the child.
I agree with Elisa because a lot of people kind of like applauded me for this, but I think it should just be normal.
Yeah,
like it shouldn't be. I shouldn't get a round of applause for doing that. We still, and I think it's getting much better. But we still kind of have that culture where the man kind of comes home and he just gets to rest But these days it's the 2 and come home and stuff like that. So it doesn't work the same. You kind of just have to pull your bootstraps up and do the fucking thing, eh?
And raise the child, man.
And Elisa will be watching this. I fail in a lot of places,
But that's the
we do
thing,
our best. But
that's what we were saying before, like, is there any failure? Like you're learning as you go. And if you consider it as failure, I guess it's actually good in a way because you're acknowledging that you can be better.
Yeah.
A lot of people will not even acknowledge that they're fucking up.
Yeah.
And will keep fucking up.
Yeah.
So it's a journey.
That's why when you said, what should I title it as? I said amateur human.
Amateur human. I'm like, that's not going to be attractive. Oh, yes. Oh, the opposite. Oh, it does go viral, you know, like, but that's the thing. We don't know much about it, but we definitely know that humans need each other. When shit goes wrong, you stop whatever you're doing to support a human. Yeah. That's just instinct. So like when you understand that, especially towards family, what a beautiful thing, eh?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's been plenty of those kind of socio-psychological tests where people have failed at that stuff miserably. The people like falling off their bikes or a homeless guy pretending to be injured or whatever, and people just walking around them.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's
stuff like that. So, but I think there is just as much good where people do want to help.
Do you think we're good, like in our essence? Because we're competitive,
Yeah,
but
was it-
in harsh situations. I think we collaborate most of the time.
Might correct me, but I think, was it Thomas Hobbes or something like that? One of the old English philosophers. He said, life is nasty, brutish, and short. And he was talking about the way we treat each other. But I don't think humans are intrinsically evil. I think it's much more of a case by case thing anyway. You know?
And what's happening around you as well dictates a lot.
Yeah,
right?
well, I was
a lot
about to
to
say,
do with your environment. I think, like,
well, there's the
especially,
nature nurture argument, which has been around forever. But I think it's the same as what we understand pretty much everything to be now, which is obvious, which is a spectrum. You know, it's not nature or nurture; it's a combination of the two.
Hey, just before I forget, because I'm a human, I'm an amateur human that forgets things.
He's still learning. He's still learning.
The Altbays Table Talk is giving double passes for the epic The Cora Classic that is happening in Matarangi on the 6th of January. And my friend Azzie is going to read some of the bands that are playing the festival. Come on, my man. We need a different voice than mine, boring voice.
Yeah, so we got Sublime with Rome. We've got Setmo, Alchemist, Babe Rainbow, No Cigar, Coterie, Eden Burns, The Butlers,
Shoo!
Becky B, Cassie Henderson, Harrison Jupe, Sammy W, Relocate, Matty and Buttermilk, Lucy,
Sounds yum.
Frank on Tap, Matt Rapid, DJ Sunray,
Hey,
Hood.
And look at the bottom there. Altbays and Coromandel logos on the poster because we're going to be there.
And if I can sneak on stage, you might see me.
Oh,
make it
you
work,
never
make it
know.
work.
We might be lucky.
Yes. So, hey,
I'm going to be there.
mighty lineup. Hey, that's what we need for a festival. Lots of bands,
God,
lots of
yes.
attractions.
Someone was telling me that the Sublime, the new singer, he sounds almost identical to the original guy.
Saw him twice. I've seen Sublime with Rome twice.
I love
and that's the
Sublime.
thing. Like, and I appreciate that because they put his name there, which means, hey, we it's a legacy that we created, and this guy is doing his thing.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to see what we were, but
Yeah.
you're going to see a good show. Representation, which is, and again, legacy. For me, legacy matters a lot. So carrying the flag. So man, if you want a double pass for this epic festival, what we're going to do, I'm going to put a question out now. And then you can comment until next Tuesday. So these guys are going to spread the word. If you are watching right now, you can spread the word. Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, good idea.
Taylor, is it who are you going to take to the show? Yeah. So you can be funny, you can be creative, or you can be real. So we want to know, who are you going to take with you
Who are you going
to the festival? If you get a double pass, again, you can be legit and say my hubby or my missus because blah 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 blah. That would be cool. But you can be like, I want to take Jesus.
Which camera are you looking in? This one here, Jennifer Aniston. If you're watching this, I would love to take you to see Sublime with Rome.
There you go. So Harry's gonna take Jennifer Aniston, and if you win, we're gonna tag her and make sure that we bring her to the Coromandel to go with
That
you to
would
the
be a
festival.
cool old base. That would be a
That would
cool
be
old base.
amazing. All the best with Jennifer
Would be.
Aniston. Jennifer, we're after you, darling. Loved friends my whole life. Know all the lines. And of course, the beautiful Coromandel magazine community project. So if you are keen to share some stories, or if you are an artist and you would like to see your work published in the Coromandel magazine, hit the team up. hello@coromandel.nz. The magazine, it's beautifully printed in this glossy paper, which makes the ads stand out as well. So if you are a business owner, consider supporting a community project that looks beautiful and is delivered around the whole Coromandel Peninsula. If you are not in the area, but still you're interested in what's going on in one of the most beautiful places in the world. Am I lying?
No, you're right.
I'm not lying.
No,
That's why we live
definitely
here. You can go on I know I've been practicing Coromandel.nz and listen to the audio version because accessibility matters, right, my friends?
It does indeed.
Yep. Or you can read the online version and be happy.
Soon to have vocals from Mellow Down. So
Oh man, I was just about, because like we're gonna wrap it up soon. But man, what a pleasure that this show is providing some cool experiences to bring interesting people to town. What happened last Tuesday, my friends?
That was amazing.
Can you tell us for the people who missed the show last Tuesday?
Oh, you missed out.
Well, one of my favorite New Zealand rappers that I've been listening to for 10 years turned up, came to town. I got to come up here and meet him, do some raps with him. He said he's going to come back. He did some awesome cartoon voices. He said, "Hit me up, get me in to do some recording,
cool,
man." Yeah, he's just a chill dude. It was awesome. I had a blast. I think we were here till midnight or something like that.
It was a good night. And the family vibe, Actually,
lovely.
We invited Lucia.
Yeah.
Lucia was my guest. I invited Lucia.
I should have said that.
But you were right. This is what it is. And she was so kind. So shout out to Mellow Downs and Lucia and the little one, because they brought their baby to be a part of the show. And
the best baby I've ever seen. My kids would have been screaming and shaking shit and like chewing through cables or something.
And she was just doing her thing.
Yeah.
And
Someone's
we had
feeding them lollies before they come in.
Yeah, my dad fucking.
That's what grandparents are for, isn't it?
That's what he says.
We had Tiffany not that long ago.
Yeah, I wanted to be here for that one too.
Bringing Tapaya and Chance.
I'd love to do a little bit of rapping with them too.
Man, cool things are happening. So yeah, support Altbays Table Talk, right? Things are happening. So thank you guys.
Things are happening.
Man.
They're pretty cool.
Someone tell Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. Oh, if she's in New Zealand, she'll come. What favorites? There's the classic top 5, hip-hop top 5, bro. Here we go.
My hip-hop top 5.
Put you against the wall.
Like,
there you go. Boom.
Groups, rappers, what do you pick? Just whatever. Oh shit.
Woo!
I know. I kind of like unorthodox lyrics. So I'm gonna have to go.
My brain's going
in no particular order. I can pick 3.
But the fun is the order.
So yeah, you reckon? God. Well, I'm gonna have to.
No, it doesn't have to. But at least the first one. At least the first one.
Eminem. I grew up on the first.
He's just classic.
He's the shit. He's the man. Yeah.
It was kind of the first music I ever like actually heard. Up until that point,
it was background stuff.
Yeah, my dad listened to Sublime actually, and Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Queen, all that kind of stuff. Which he had a funny story about listening to Queen. They used to listen to it as teenagers, and he was like a wannabe biker, like leather and denim and stuff like that. Never actually joined a gang, but like rode around. Thought he was hard out. And sorry, Dad, you are hard out. He's but they were all listening to Queen, and they're like, "Fuck yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody!" And then some guy's like, "You know that guy's gay, eh?" And they're like, "Oh, we hate the song now." No idea.
Different times.
Yeah. But yeah,
Eminem.
So I remember. So all that music was in the background. I remember hearing Nothing But Music. I don't know if anyone knows that song. I think it was on like Devil's Night or something. What's going on in the world today? People fighting, feuding, looting. It's okay. And I remember hearing that and being like, "What the fuck is this?" And I would have still been in primary school, and that was like the first music that hooked me. And then that was about the same time. My Name Is came out and stuff like that.
Yeah. Name is what?
Yeah, exactly. Azzie, isn't it? No, it's not. No. So, but also, I was coming into that angsty teen, so I kind of evolved with it, and it was angry, and I could, kind of vent to it, and
you could rebel against you kind of your parents.
He literally had a song called "Fight Music." I mean, I just don't give a fuck. That was like. In those song titles, you're expressing my feelings before you've even said anything. So that'd be first, and then I'd probably go someone that almost no one's heard of, and say Young Z, who was actually rapped with Eminem when they were growing up. Just has this super unconventional style. Here's a feature on 8 Mile.
Ah,
yeah.
Cool.
So he's on their album, and he just has this. Like I said, super unconventional way with words.
Good movie.
You don't know what he's gonna say next, and it always sounds super cool. Like just weird shit. And then Redman is also up there for a similar reason. He just kind of he just exudes cool. You know what I mean? He just I'll be that. I don't know if you know much Redman. My middle name must be Fuck You, because every time dudes drive past, they be like, "Fuck you, I'll be that." God, and then I think probably MF Doom would have to be in there just because of his technical prowess. And then
Wow, it is hard now that you're bringing all these names up. I'm like, shit, why did I bring this up?
and the last spot, I don't know who would take the last spot, in the top 5. I'm pretty confident with that top 4. Anyone got any names? Throw them out.
An Aotearoa one maybe.
Yes, Tom Scott, Mellow Downs, you're amazing, but Tom Scott, you're fucked up. Like, what the fuck, bro? That shit. Every time I write a rap, and I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with that. That's dope. That's pretty cool. And then I hear, Homer is releasing a new thing. I'm like, I'll have a listen. I'm like, and he says some rhyme scheme, and I'm like, you're a dick, bro. I give up. Like, let's throw my shit away.
And
like,
he had a strong Eminem influence, because that was his vibe at the start, not really.
I mean, 100%. I'd say he did. I don't want to speak for him, obviously, but my favorite thing with Tom was from the beginning. Is there was this thing, so like people tried to emulate rap, and I did it when I first started writing, and like you were saying, we learn by copying. So when I first started writing raps, I was writing gangster rap because I listened to gangster rap, but I don't live in we talked about.
You don't live in the hood, though.
Yeah, exactly. I grew up, I had fights and there was violence and drugs and stuff around us, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't that. I wasn't, driving around New York or whatever I was trying to rap about. And Tom came in and did the first stuff I heard was the Last Week EP, where he literally done the album was Monday to Sunday, and he just wrote about what he was doing. And so, but that was what gangster rap was originally. It wasn't just gangster rap for the sake of gangster rap. You weren't just writing stuff because it was cool to be violent or it was cool to talk about holding guns. Those people, Eazy-E and Ice Cube and that, Fuck the Police, they were writing about the stuff for the most part that they were doing. They were writing about their daily life. And that was my favorite thing about Tom, is he did the same thing for New Zealand. He wasn't just rapping to rap or whatever. He was he was saying what he did that day, but he also made it sound cool, and it is infinitely, as a Kiwi, infinitely relatable. Like some of the lines, like I went and watched them live a couple of weeks back at the power station, and they'd done this song Alcoholic, and I'm not going to sing it because I'm a terrible singer. I sound like a cat that's just been run over, but there's a bit, how does it go? Something about, all I know is there's a bottle in the fridge with my name on it if I want it. And then he holds out the microphone, and the whole crowd goes, "'Cause I'm an alcoholic and I know it." And it's like, to me, it's like it's a new New Zealand anthem. Like it's so. I mean, it's first of all, it's intergenerational. I think he's a bit older than me, even, and it just speaks to all of us so much. It's insane how he's created this, like a way to express the experience of growing up within our country within these songs, especially in the being part of like the lower socioeconomic rung. That and identifying with that and seeing someone put that into words, like some of his lines. Where what was it? I'm gonna butcher this, but like all the bros up in the bar talking their bar codes, hard bro, but we aren't though, and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna go on, but just it's Tom, so insightful.
Tom, like, you're invited, bro. Tom, you're invited, bro. We would love to bring Tom Scott. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, man.
Be cool.
It's gonna happen.
Be cool.
Do you want
to drink with me?
Yeah, man. We'll keep a bottle with his name in the fridge.
It's definitely one.
Do you wanna throw your top 5 on the
top 5 hip hop? God, I wouldn't know.
Maybe not your favorite genre, but I'm sure you got some.
I like it, but I'm kind of trying to think of
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah, there's so many out there, but like of New Zealand artists, like my brain's been going to Crowded House. Like that's just what I grew up with.
Wow.
They have very little hip hop tracks.
But it's not hip hop. It's not hip hop
no.
at all.
Oh, speaking of, sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but I just heard a new rendition of Slice of Heaven. Get that shit off the radio. That was the worst shit. I'm sorry whoever made that, but I hate it so much.
You don't like remakes, bro. Don't like.
Some remakes are okay. I like Disturbed's new Sound of Silence. Simon and Garfunkel. Love the original.
Yeah.
Disturbed did a good rendition themselves.
They did,
But
they did.
that Slice of Heaven, I'm pretty sure Dave Dobbin was in it himself. Garbage. Didn't elicit the same feelings.
And that's the
Horrible.
thing. And that's the thing. Like there are different ways of understanding what the generation nowadays tap into. You know, like, so I see a lot of bands wanting to have a new sound as well. So they even support remakes sometimes because like it's similar with trap, you know, like with the what rap is becoming like, you know, like, and is that thing. And like, for me, it's not my cup of tea, but like if the lyrics is good and if there's a flow to it, I understand that is a new sound.
Yeah, if there's a new sound, they keep evolving, and if it flows well, it's cool. It's fun to listen to.
Yes. But I get you, man. Sometimes
good music is good music, and everyone's gonna have varying tastes. But
okay, Crowded House.
Crowded House, but they have to admit they're not hip hop.
But
I love.
throw
Just as
some
a
bands. It's,
caveat.
man,
I
it's
love
good.
listening to. Like Eminem, I used to listen to when I was with my mates when it first came out. We were down the bottom of the stairwell at school, listening to Eminem on his Walkman,
smoking durries.
drinking vanilla Coke. And this was naughty. We went to a Steiner school. You're not supposed to have lollies or sweets or
so you were a
Walkmans or
rebel.
that. So we were being rebels back then, we thought. Me and my two mates, sitting down at the bottom of the stairwell, drinking vanilla Coke, listening to Eminem, because his mum went and bought the CD, bought it for us because we weren't allowed to. So Eminem was kind of, it's always had a big place in me.
Yep.
I love his lyrics. Some of them are pretty, but I enjoy the way he makes it work. So
Some of them are very questionable.
some of them are a bit questionable, but hey, it's good. It's good fun. But otherwise, hip hop would be. I saw Dr. Dre live in Auckland. That was quite cool. That was fucking cool, man.
Yeah,
I was just rolling past one day on K Road, and then it was like, someone was like, "Oh, he's playing there." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, why not then?"
Wow.
And it was amazing. It was at not the wine cellar, but
it was a small venue.
it was a small venue, and it was packed. And I remember being in there, front of the mosh, getting squished up against the bar at the front, but I was in my chair, so it didn't really matter. But
They
there
can
were
only
people
squish so
all
far,
over me.
right?
Yeah, they can squish as much as you want, bro. You're not going to squish my chair. But that was an amazing gig. That was really cool. And I think the one more that I really like would be, mine's gone completely blank.
It's hard to pick the one.
It's hard to pick the one, but I kind of like. No, hang on. Why is my mind gone?
It will come. It will come.
It will come. It will come back to me at 2 o'clock
Yeah,
in the morning this morning.
Nas,
And
Jay-Z,
no, it's not
Method
Jay.
Man, RZA, Jizza.
And it's funny because what you said about being relatable, because in my case, like when I started thinking, like it took me straight to Brazilian hip-hop, to Brazilian rap. There was this epic band, they're still active, called Planet Hemp. So they were one of the first ones talking about life in general, but obviously putting the word out about the benefits of marijuana and like how stupid it was to have those laws against, like putting people in jail, and how that was damaging the country. So at the time they were revolutionaries, right? At the time, and 3 frontmen, 3 guys rapping at the front. So like just those 3, they would like go right at the top for me. But of international ones, I really like conscious rap.
Yeah.
Because as I grew up and as I started to understand the impact of lyrics on people, I realized, man, you can put a beautiful message out there. So a good friend of ours, Paul, who we lived with, he introduced me to Common.
I knew you were going to say that.
I fell in love, eh?
Yeah.
For the musicality, for the attitude, for like the person
You know, like I'm like, man, if there's one person that I would love to talk to on the show, that would be Common, because I relate to what he's talking about. Like he had his thing going on, his shit going on, but like he's on a journey of bettering himself. He never says that he's perfect, but it's that journey of being a better man. Love Common. I love the teacher. KRS.
KRS is amazing.
KRS, man. Can't leave the guy off the thing. For me.
Most Def. I'd kind of have in the same category as those guys as well.
And I really like the flow of the Tribe. Tribe Called Quest. It was always
Q-Tip in that. I haven't listened to enough of them, to be fair. I love them, but
you know, like it's just something that is appealing to me, like with groove. And then I found out that he produced the Groove is in the Home.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, of course, it's Q-Tip shit, you know. So yeah, those guys for me are like, man, the shit that I don't listen to hip hop all the time, but when I do, I'm like, and Jay's just
Jay's just good. What's the one? What's cooler than being called Ice Cold? Yeah, what's cooler than being called?
Oh, Andrew 3000. I thought about him. Andrew 3000 is releasing an album now that he is just
wind instruments.
And
he said it was meant to be a hip hop album, but this is just the way that it went.
It just
that's cool for you, bro. But I want to hear you rap, motherfucker. What the hell?
You gotta watch. There's an interview that just went out, like on YouTube.
Yeah,
that it's
with
30
him
minutes.
talking about it.
It's amazing. And then you kind of like, even though we all want to listen to him rapping, when you listen to him explaining why,
we still have him rapping.
Love the guy.
I can listen to, you know, Southern Playlist, kind of like Man in My Car still. I suppose I don't need him to make new stuff.
have we missed a favorite one there for you, Papa? Do you want to throw some one that you like? You like the, what's the name of the guy that is the big black dude and the little short guy? You like those?
Cardi B, I think.
No. Run the Juice.
Oh, Run the Jewels. Yeah, they're good.
Taylor's
is
Run the Juice.
Is that Killer
fan.
Mike?
Yeah, we got a nod from him.
Yeah, they're not bad. I like out of the new guys. What are they?
Mac Miller.
Yeah, he's alright.
Benny
Benny the Butcher. What are they called? Griselda. Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, and God, I forget the last one. There's three of them. They signed under Eminem.
I don't know why I said Mac Miller, because he's dead.
I know, but he's good though. He's got some amazing
timeless
songs.
Yeah,
he's timeless. Some of his songs are so like
and got groove.
Well, he's another one like similar to Tom Scott, who kind of, you know, I don't identify with him as much as I do Tom, obviously, but he had that kind of captured the zeitgeist, you know, voice of a generation,
the way
kind of thing.
Yeah. Have you seen his Tiny Desk concert?
Yeah, I have.
Love it.
Yeah,
so good.
He's tripping balls, and it's so good.
Oh, it's high as fuck.
So good.
It's so good.
Have you seen Mellowdown's Colors? Have you seen that Colors YouTube channel? And they do, it's like the whole thing's like done in a certain shade. I don't know where they do it. I think it's somewhere in America, and Mellowdown went and did one of these things. It's fucking impressive.
Hey,
yeah.
Cool.
He's coming back, bro. He was very happy. So he said that he's releasing some stuff. Like there's some fresh stuff coming up soon.
Yeah,
and we're gonna hit him up and bring him back. Yeah,
I'm gonna steal him away from his partner for a little while. We're gonna get hammered at the shop and do some raps.
And then see
she might come. Lucia was on to
Bring
it,
the
man.
baby. Bring the baby.
Bros, what a pleasure. I love the shows. I love the chats. And just the relax, we can talk shit, we can talk serious, and thank you so much.
Yeah, there was a lot I wanted to expand on, but we'll get there next time.
We'll bring you back.
Ancient Aliens. I just wanted one more shout out to Ancient Aliens. Watch that shit. Watch that fucking show, man. It's
Again,
good.
so just before I forget, shout out to Blue Ginger. What about that Kaye? God damn.
It was so good. It was so good. I've
Every
had it for
time.
breakfast and lunch and dinner today.
Every time, nail it.
We didn't even mention. Okay, so let me do that first. Blue Ginger, if you are coming to the Coromandel, Blacksmith Lane has amazing restaurants. Base
We're
Pizzeria.
We're there.
The bro is there. And right next to it, obviously, top Blue Ginger, amazing. So make sure to check them out. blueginger.co.nz. Beautiful Thai fusion food. Okay, so make sure to check them out. And we didn't even talk about bass.
We did not even talk about
Henry,
it.
you managed
Also-
to avoid it the whole
I was
time.
like, shit.
Sure you
There's
did.
more interesting stuff.
So
I make pizzas. I'm pretty good at it. Make my own dough.
Makes
I can
amazing
throw it in there. I can
pasta.
do all the tossing and shit. Roll it by hand.
So for the people who obviously
What else do you wanna
watch
know?
Altbays, because now that we've been doing for 231 shows, people see the
getting up
stories
there,
and
right?
see. So those beautiful pizzas that we have here every now and then are made by.
I make them custom every week. Come up with new recipes for.
That's
for
the
Leo.
coolest. We
Also,
just-
it's gonna be different because we're about to hit summer and it's getting busy. But during the quiet season, if you want something different, and I've got time, I'll do it. I got people I make meatball subs for. I got people that I make. One guy who helps me with my fridges, fixes my fridges. Shout out to Essentials Electrical.
Shout
I think
out.
it is Nick. You're the man. He just calls me and says, "Can I get 2 Henry specials?" And I just make him whatever the fuck I've got in the fridge. And I prefer that. I try and sell the stuff. I'm like, man, so I've got some nice mozzarella. I've got some prosciutto. And I'll try and tell people, and they're like, "Oh, that sounds really nice."
Pineapple, ham and cheese.
You nailed it. Can I just get a
terrible,
Hawaiian
eh?
though? I'm like, no.
makes
It's fine.
it
You can eat
Hawaiian.
Hawaiian if you want. I just think
Of
it's an
course.
abomination, personally.
It makes a really good burger as well, I have to admit.
Yeah,
It
no.
makes a really good burger.
So we're very lucky. We're very stoked to have the support of beautiful people and beautiful businesses. So thank you so much for shouting some beautiful cars for us
pleasure.
every week. You understand, man, when you're on the boats and the tide rises, everyone rises, right? So I appreciate that you guys come and support the show because, man, things are happening. So
Yeah, I finally made it here. How long did that take? I
it
don't
took a while.
231 episodes.
And it took me to wake you up as well to say, bro, let's do the show tonight.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, exactly. I was at the Monkey
House.
House last night till a reasonable time.
Very, very
A
reasonable.
respectable and reasonable time for a business owner, and I went home and got a good night's sleep. And then Leo woke me up probably no later than
Was 10:30.
oh shit.
That's early.
Sorry, guy. Sorry,
He
guy.
doesn't start working
Sorry,
till
guy.
what?
Sorry, guy.
Eleven?
Things are happening, guy. Life happens.
It was a very, very good night. Shout out to
was. It was. It was
Molly
the
and
final-
Casper at the Monkey House.
Yeah, it was the final, possibly the final. What do they call it?
Open
mic
mic
night.
night.
Got up there, did some rapping. It was probably embarrassing. I don't know. I can't really remember.
He did
It's fun
well.
though.
He did well.
If you want to see that, keep watching all
I think
the
Casper's got videos, to be honest.
We're going to bring you back, bro. Don't worry. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hope to see you back.
Pleasure.
Hope to have you back sometime soon, both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back.
And don't forget, if you are watching this live stream, we're gonna post it again. So you go there and you let us know who would you take, who are you gonna take to the Coro Classic if you win a double pass, and we're gonna give those 2 tickets on Tuesday. Cool week coming up. We're gonna have some special shows. I'm not gonna jinx it because sometimes I say it and then people cancel. No, I'm joking. But it's gonna be fun, especially on Thursday. We have Mr. Alan Rhodes, legendary potter from the area, and Stupidly. They're coming. Yeah, man, that's gonna be special. So on Thursday, and then for Tuesday is a bit of a surprise. So I'll keep that quiet. But that's us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Kakite. Peace. Good night.